Hello my beautiful plant people, how are we today? For those of you that have never met me before, I am Sam from Plant Collector Melbourne and welcome back to PCM. Today's video is hopefully going to be a super helpful one for you guys, and it is inspired by this guy over here. So I went to pick up this bad boy this morning and I just thought to myself, if only there was a video out there that when I started my plant journey, it had like different reviews and different comments on different humidifiers so that I could help pick my own in my own plant journey. So that is this video, hopefully. So we are going to be going through all the humidifiers that I have used in my plant journey. We are going to be stacking them up, comparing them, talking about all their features, they're good, they're not so good. I am very excited to share with you guys all of my thoughts and my tips and tricks because I have a lot about humidifiers. So without further ado, let's get started. So how this video is going to work is that I'm going to do a 5-point system rating. So we are going to be looking at all the different humidifiers that I have had along the journey and seeing how they kind of like stack up together. And of course, by the end, give you my highest of highest recommendations. So what are the 5 points that we are going to be rating? So the first rating would be quality, the second, cost, the third, functionality, the fourth, reliability, and the last one is going to be like a bonus, depending on all the bonus features that the humidifier may have. So that is the point system. In my plant journey, I have accumulated about 9 different humidifiers that I have tried, as well as making one with some friends, Haley and Jake, a couple of years back. So I have lots to say about different humidifiers. So the very first humidifier, I think it would have been 2019, and my very first humidifier, I did some research and I saw that one of these bigger humidifiers had a certain feature that I was like, oh, I would like to try that. And that is none other than the Ionmax 80. On Amazon, it is currently $241, but it retails for about $300. And back in the day, you bet that Sam invested $300 straight off the bat for her plant babies. So it was, I think it was because the main feature that I really liked is that you could change the humidity percentage and then that it would turn on and off accordingly. So in the humidifier realm, there's definitely humidifiers that already have this system built in so that it will turn on and off according to whatever you set it as. And then of course there is ones that don't, and you can buy things like Inkbird, or they have like little hydrometers that will tell the system or the mister to turn on and off depending on the environment. So I really like that it already had it built in, so I didn't have to buy another thing for the humidifier. The main reason why I got this guy was because it was in my bedroom, which was I would say a medium room. So it wasn't a small room. It wasn't like a cabinet. I needed something that was a bit more substantial. And then because I didn't want to refill the water tank every day. So this guy had 6 liters, and that's why I think I was putting it in the humidifier maybe once a day if I had the humidity really high, and then once every 2 days if the humidity was lower. I really liked the capacity or like the size of it for that function of in my room, and then that quickly migrated to the greenhouse and it did a fabulous job. So the tea is that this humidifier, I reckon, worked for about 2 years and then died. For the cost, which is back in the day, probably about $300. And then the duration and reliability, I don't think that it was quite there. I think that the whole system itself looked pretty cool. I did fall in love with it at the beginning. I wouldn't say that it is one of my highest recommendations, but it still did the job. And I liked that I didn't have to refill it all the time. So other things that it did have, now that I remember, is that you could change the, I guess, the level of the mist. So if you only wanted it a little bit, moderate or on high, you could change how much was coming out of the humidifier. And then you could toggled one of them to make it like cool versus warm. And for your plants, I do think that it is a really big difference, or a factor that I love. If you get the warm setting, you can use it during winter and your plants love it. If it's like a really hot day, you can actually change it to a cooler mist. So I really like that feature. Quality wise, I would say that it's not something that is super high quality or high end, but not trash either. So I would say I'd give it a solid 3 for quality. Cost is actually, for what it is very expensive. As in, I have definitely gone the cheaper route and they have still worked out to be around the 2-3 year mark. So the cost is outrageous, so it's going to bump it down. So cost efficiency wise, I would say that I'd probably give it a 1, to be honest. Functionality wise, I would put it as high. I think that a lot of the functions were really handy, like the cooling and heating system or mist. The capacity, it did the job. It just didn't last long. I'd probably give functionality, I'd probably give it maybe like a 3.5 or 4. Let's do 3.5. Reliability, I would at least give it a 2, because it's not like I just bought it and it broke. Like, it did last me 2 to 3 years, so I'll give that one a 2. Bonus features, there's probably nothing out of the ordinary, to be honest with it. It's just that it probably just ticks all the boxes. So I don't feel like there's necessarily like any bonus features. I'm pretty neutral about it. There's nothing really great going for it. So again, a 3. Okay, wow, that was a lot harsher than I thought, but it's the truth. So I rate this guy a 2.5. Would I recommend to you guys to buy this one for your plant babies? No. And when it comes down to it, it is purely just the cost for how long that it lasts, and the reliability just does not match up for me. So this one was this one, I don't actually know how to pronounce it, but the spelling is B-E-U-E-R. Beurer? I'm not sure. I have bought 2 different humidifiers from this brand, and the very first one, so this was like the second humidifier that I had bought and invested in, and it was the dual action humidifier. So just depending on which model you can get, because there is an older one versus a newer one, you can get it for like around $180 to $200. And so I have lots to say about this guy. For the price, because it is cheaper than the Ionmax 90, so I will say that it is cheaper, which is nicer. The biggest thing that I loved about this was that it looks way nicer aesthetically. So if this was going into your home, or you just have, I don't know, you have like aesthetic values for your humidifier, this guy is definitely top tier. So let's talk about the pros for this guy. So he's a 6-liter tank or capacity, which was really nice, that you don't have to fill it like every single day. That aesthetically pleasing compared to a lot of humidifiers out there. Oh, it has this like dial that you can like increase the mist or decrease the mist, which was handy. My biggest thing is that after having a couple of Brewers for several years, is that the reliability is definitely there. That if you want something that, yes, you are going to pay bigger money for it, but it is going to last you, then I think that Beurer is a great brand to get a reliable product. So I'm a big fan of them, but there were actually quite a few negatives to this guy. One of them is that the actual, what do you call it? Like the tank, when you take it off, it's what we call a bottom refiller, not a top refiller, which means that you have to like pick up the tank and you have to like flip it around, put water in, and then put it back on. And in theory, that's not that hard, but if you're doing this every couple of days, or it's just one of those things that if you got a top opener, like this guy, I'll show you guys this, is that I just open this and you put the water in there, or you can just like take the tank out. And it is just a small feature, but trust me when I say that it is way more efficient and way more easier than if it's like a bottom refiller. I would say the price is on the higher side, but compared to the Ionmax, then it is like less. I think that this particular one works really beautifully in like homes, because again, the whole aesthetic vibe. I had it in the greenhouse like the whole time, and I found that there was one problem, and that is because it has like a clear tank, even though it's like aesthetically pleasing, my one actually got algae buildup, and it was such a pain to try and wash, especially because like the actual tank itself, the hole that you can put water in is so small. So actually like cleaning it out was a nightmare. So I would not recommend that if you're putting it like outside. So for example, if you're putting it in like a greenhouse, because it does get algae buildup. So just be careful of that. Let's redo our ranking system with our top 5. So quality wise, I would say that this is really high quality. I would even go as far to say that it like Breuer stuff is like 5 in terms of quality. I think cost is pretty fair for how reliable that it is. I mean, look, it's not on the cheapest side, because I know that you can get really cheap humidifiers from like Kmart or online, but it's the reliability part. So I would say cost is like on the lower side. It is starting to get on the more expensive side. So I would say like maybe not a 3, because I'm not neutral about it, maybe like a 2.5. Functionality, I think that there are stuff missing, like the heat and cooling thing, but it's still pretty good. I was still pretty happy with it. Another negative is that it doesn't have the hydrometer, so it doesn't like turn on and off depending on the humidity in the environment. So I forgot about that. Oh, I think that's gonna make it go lower. Sad. Look, I think that the pros and the cons kind of equal each other out in terms of functionality. Yes, it is lacking some things, but it does definitely get the job done. I'd say 3. Reliability, I reckon I would put it at like a 4. I say 4 because it's not like it's gonna last forever, but I don't think any of these humidifiers will. So if you're buying a humidifier and you think that they're gonna last forever and ever, I'm sorry to tell you that this is not the case. No matter how many humidifiers I have bought, they have all died on me. And bonus features, there's no real bonus features. This time we're a little bit all over the place now that I do the math. After doing all of that, everything comes down to an overall 3.5, which I do think is where I actually genuinely sit. And that did die, so unfortunately I do no longer have that. Would I buy it again? No, there's definitely other better ones, but if I was doing it specifically for my home because of aesthetic reasons, I wouldn't mind doing it. Anyway, the next one is this little guy, and this normally comes with like a little, I don't know what you call it, like a screw cap top little thing for water. Like you put a water bottle on this guy, and yeah, he does humidifier things, you know? It is called the Beurer LB12 Mini Air. And so here you can see that you can do like, if I cover my face, you can do like min, max, so you can change up the strength of the mist, which I think is very handy. I think that these guys are only suitable for if you have like IKEA cabinets and like a very small enclosed space, but these do work an absolute treat. They do run out relatively quickly, so I think that I've got some friends that have this as well. For some reason I have to refill it like maybe every 2-3 days, but I have had people have them for a whole week. So it just depends on, I guess, like the humidity and how much of the strength you're playing with. I usually put it at the max, and then yeah, that's probably why it doesn't last very long. But if you put it on like medium, and then it will only go off for a certain period of time, like you put a timer or a hydrometer thing with it too. So I think that these guys are brilliant for cabinet. Everything else, no go. This is only a recommendation for small things, because you can definitely get like smaller humidifiers, of course, online, and then also Kmart and whatnot, like the desk humidifiers with like the USBs and stuff, and they're fine. I just don't think that they last very long. All of them are relatively cheap, which is nice. This guy is definitely on the higher end, but in my personal opinion, I would highly recommend getting something like this rather than like those little USB humidifiers for your cabinets and IKEA cabinets and whatnot. Quality wise, again, 5. Cost is retailing for about $100. Yes, it is more expensive than the things that you can get at other places and online, but in its defense, that this will last a lot longer. 3? Okay. Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, all right, fine. Maybe it lacks in functionality. All right, fine. It's a 2 for functionality. I should put a disclaimer that I have only had this for a couple of months, but it was secondhand from a friend named Grace, and she's had them for a while. They've gotten a couple of years out of it for $100. Put it as like a 3. And bonus features, there's no real bonus features. If anything, it's pretty dull on the bonus features. I'm gonna give that a 1. Oofed. Okay, so that sits at about 2.8, which is funny because I would still recommend it for people with cabinets. So it's just my rating system, unfortunately. But cabinets, yes. Anything else? No. When I was in Brunswick, we used a one from Breville, which was the Smart Mist Humidifier, and I really liked it. So let me tell you why. So the really nice thing about this is the capacity. The capacity for it is about 5 liters, and it is big. It used to last ages in Brunswick. That it does have the hydrometer so that you can set it to a range that you like, that it does have the cooling and heating mist, it does have like the strength. You could do it like a lot of mist, you could do a little bit of mist. I just think that this one was like a super well-rounder. I really enjoyed this guy and it lasted me a lot of years. So the price of this guy was $250. So he was a little bit more expensive than the Beurer one, the dual action one, but in my opinion this guy is better, and I just think that the functionality is just so much better. The quality is still there. There wasn't really much bad to say, to be honest. Well, besides that, you had to do like the bottom watering situation. It was a really great humidifier. That one was technically not mine, so I couldn't take it with me, but I have very fond memories of that thing. I really like this one, can you tell? Let's hit it back to the five qualities, which is quality-wise, 5, definitely a 5. Cost, it is more on the pricier side, so I'm gonna say like 2. Functionality, loved it. Big love. I think I'd give it like a 4.5. The 5% is literally just because it's a bottom waterer. So 4.5. Reliability, I would say 4 because it's not mine. So I don't know if it would be like in over 5 years. If a humidifier could make it over like 5 years, then I would give it over a 5. But I'm gonna say this guy is maybe like a 4, just in case, to be conservative. Bonus features. The fact that it has like a sleep mode, which is quite nice. The heating and cooling part. Look, I'm not blown away with the bonuses, but I'll still give it like a 4. It is so close to being a 4, but it's a 3.9. You know what? Let's just round it up to a 4. I was really happy with that guy. He would be one of my higher recommendations, but of course, stay to the end of the video and I will let you know exactly which ones I highest recommend. But yes, this guy is definitely a high one. Okay, since we are still talking about Breville, I may just bring up this beautiful thing that I just picked up. And so I can't really give my honest opinions yet because I have not tested it yet because I just got her this morning. Smart Mist Humidifier, but it top, which literally just means that we can top water instead of bottom, which is so important in my books. I have a top waterer humidifier in the greenhouse and I will show you guys exactly what we're using. And it is just such bliss to be able to grab the hose and literally just go psh, instead of having to like muck around with it. So top ones are brilliant. This, would you look at this? How easy is that? So if you don't have like a water source close, you can just like carry it over to the sink or over to a hose and then bloop. Brilliant. This guy retails for $350 and you guys won't believe how much of a bargain that I got it for. I went on Marketplace and it was $120. Woo! I'll tell you all the features, but I think that I'm going to have to do another review video for after a couple of months to give you my true honest opinions. So it is only about 4 liters, which is clearly smaller than what I typically would do. This guy is actually going into the grow tent. So the grow tent is actually quite like a medium, smaller to medium room. It's not really a large room. Of course, it's got the heating, the cooling, the timers, the hydrometer, so you can choose the percentage of which that it stays on. In terms of like aesthetic, I would put this on the higher end as well. This one is a really gorgeous guy. Another thing that I was just like, oh, fancy that, is that you can actually connect it to your phone. And so I just downloaded it today. And if we go, boop, oh, what are you? Device connection failure. That's nice. It's probably because it's unplugged so that I can show you guys. So it has this like blue circle telling you the percentage that I had it set on, and I think I had it for like 70% for a little bit, and that you can like change the heating and cooling, and it's all by Wi-Fi. So I could be at home and I might be like, hey, you know what, the plants probably don't need it as much, or I'm not going to be there for a couple of days, so I'm going to put the strength a bit lower, things like that. I can do it from home, which is fabulous. So in terms of like bonuses, I think this guy is probably going to be one of my top rated. I'm not gonna rate it right now because I haven't used it yet, but he at least has like the really cool bonus of having an app linked to it, so you can like change it. Given that if you've got like, what are they called? Wi-Fi Powerboards, is that you can like download the app. The one that we currently have in the store is Arlec, which you can just get from Bunnings. And like you can use it all on your phone so that you can control things from a different location or just via Wi-Fi. You don't even have to get one of those with this. It's already built in. Isn't it fabulous? So I'm very, very excited to be trying this guy. I will say the one that we've got at home in the greenhouse. So that one, I actually didn't even buy myself. This one was gifted to me by my beautiful dad because he saw that the old humidifier was broken and he was like, I'm just going to surprise Sam. So when I went in there, he got me a little gorgeous humidifier. So this one is called ASAKUKI, and he got it from Amazon. So I'm going to try and not be too sentimental about it because Dad did get it to me. I'm going to try objective, honest for you guys. This guy retails for about $74.97 on Amazon, although that's a limited deal at the moment. So it's normally like over $110. This guy has some pretty cool features, and I actually have been really enjoying it for the greenhouse. And here's why. So it has a really cool feature that it's got a water measurer for if it's starting to get low, and so that you will know exactly where the water gauge is and you can like refill it as you go or whenever it needs it. So that was a pretty cool feature. Another one, top tier things. If there is one feature that I could have on all humidifiers, it would be able to top refill. And the fact that it is like open and that you can just like put the hose in and just put water in, brilliant. So efficient, and is just one of the features that I just love about it. Also, it's got the hydrometer. So the capacity for this guy is actually small. So he's about 4 liters. I probably would not recommend him for like big greenhouses or big homes. Like it just doesn't have the oomph when it comes to like bigger rooms. With my old Breuer one, is that when I used to like flip it over, put water, and then have to like put it on, there are so many times that I would drop it and be like, in the greenhouse, but luckily it never broke, which is nice. I may have also dropped another humidifier that we got off like Amazon, like a super cheap one, and it just smashed all in the grow tent and it was like flooded. Cleaning is super easy for this guy. I think that he's really great. I haven't had him for that long. I think we're probably still under a year of having it in the greenhouse, but so far, so good. So in terms of reliability, I probably won't do anything too great because I probably can't say much, but quality wise, I wouldn't say that it's like super duper high quality. I would say it's enough. Like I'd probably give that one a 3 in terms of quality. Cost is the greatest. I think this is probably on the cheapest one that we have, other than like the Kmart stuff. And cost wise, this is good. I think I'm gonna put it at a 4. Functionality, I do like its functionality, but it's going to have to deduct some points because it just doesn't cater to like big rooms or big things. So if you don't need a big room or you don't need a lot of humidity in a big space, then this could be your guy. So functionality, let's give it like a 3.5. Yeah, because it does have all of the little like things like the hydrometer that you can change, the heating, the hot and cold stuff, timers. It does have good functionality. Not incredible, but good. And a bonus feature, I don't think that there's really much bonus. Besides that, it's a top filler, like a super easy top filler. Let's say like 3.5. I'm feeling a 3.5. Okay, so this guy sits more on the mediocre side, which is true. If by comparison, if we're comparing it to all the other ones, it is on the lower, not so awesomeness scale, but it is still good. So this one is a 3.4, but let's just round it up. I'll give it a 3.5. We have about 2 more humidifiers to talk about. One of them is one that I purchased on Amazon from a brand called YOKEKON. And the reason why I bought this one is because I had a friend have it in her and her partner's grow tent, and it was huge. The liters on this thing, massive. It's probably the biggest capacity one that I bought. So this guy was 16 liters, that he was a top filler, and that I wanted to use it for the big room of PCM. The positives is that the capacity is huge. Like if I filled this thing, it could last a whole week. In terms of like aesthetic, it was better than average. It does come with this like weird white L-shaped pole things that you could like direct the humidity to. I thought that was pretty ugly, but we did use it for a little bit of time. And it does have like that little gauge of like where the water sits, which was pretty handy. The cost for this guy was $194, which I thought the cost is fantastic for how big this is. And it is like listed as an industrial humidifier. So in my head, I was like, $200 for industrial humidifier, say less, let's try it. I unfortunately have some negatives to report, and it is that it is a little bit too good to be true. When you look at the reviews though, it's really like polarizing, is that either people really love it or people really hate it. And in my experience is that we had it for just a couple of weeks. I reckon we had it for less than a month and it broke. And so I was like, are you serious? I don't know if it was like a malfunctioning thing, but if you do look at the Google reviews on Amazon, there are a couple of people that are like, yeah, it died on me within X amount of time. So in terms of reliability, it just is not, in my personal opinion, reliable. Maybe I just got it dead. Who knows? But there are still people experiencing the same thing. So here we go. It still has the functionality, cool heating. It's got the setting for the hydrometer, and you can set the humidifier. It's got all the good standard stuff, timers, all that jazz. Even comes with a remote, not that I ever used it. But functionality wise, great. Quality, I actually think that this was not great quality. In terms of like when I picked it up, it's very light. I would say that it's more on the cheaper side in terms of like make. So I would probably give this guy a 2 in terms of quality. The cost was great. Like imagine that, $200, and then you could have gotten an industrial 16-liter humidifier. Brilliant, theoretically. So cost is great. I would have given it like, I probably would have given it a 5, to be honest. Nah, let's give it a 4. Functionality, great. I think that if it actually worked, functionality would have been fantastic. It has all of the different features that I would need functionally. Reliability, just purely because of experience, I'm giving it a 1. Like what breaks in a couple of weeks? How? I don't know. So I'm gonna say, actually no, 1 is a bit harsh because it could be that I just got a faulty one. I'm gonna give it a 2 though. I really love that it's like 16-liter and for so cheap, but that's probably about it. Is there anything else that it had? Not really, nothing like crazy. Maybe like 3.5, 3? There's nothing real bonus about it, to be honest. 3, let's do a 3. So this guy scores 3 out of 5. Can you tell that I don't really, wait, 3 out of 5? That's still technically like better than halfway. So theoretically a 3.5, but I feel like it should be less due to my experience. But who knows? If you guys wanted to give it a try for your plant babies and it worked out for you, power to you. The last but not least, I should go get it. It's the one that we have been using for the grow tent. And I actually got these guys from Ted. And Ted, I believe, got it from Amazon. And it is definitely more on the cheaper side. And aesthetically is not that quite pleasing. But it did the job for a little bit until they died or I broke it. So let me go grab them. these guys, and I'm pretty sure they're not branded. Like, you can just get these on Amazon. So this is the guy that we're using. This is the guy that I accidentally broke. Whoopsies. And like we said, is that because it is a bottom refiller, is that you would put the water in there, lock that up, and then this is the humidifier. I don't know which direction. Hey, there you go. And it has a little dial, a little switcheroo over here. This is probably like the most simple humidifier that we have tried to date. And it did work for a couple of months, but of course I broke it. We have had our fair share of trying this puppy out. I don't know how much he is. I would say it's definitely more on the cheaper side. It's definitely sub $100. Yeah, and it doesn't really have much functionality to this. Like, I already know in my head this is definitely more like a 1-2 situation, but let's just, for argument's sake, quality 1. When I dropped it, it broke. Cost. The cost is actually pretty good. I wouldn't give it a 5. Relax, Sam. 4.5. Functionality at 1, because really it is just doing mist and then you adjust the strength of it. Reliability, let's do a, could I give it a 0? Is that bad? There are no bonus features, so that thing gets a 0. This guy got 1.3. Those are the 9 different humidifiers that I have tested out in my journey of plants. I hope that this was somewhat like interesting, fun, insightful for you guys. If I had to give you my recommendation of like what I would get, of course I would have to say just think about your plants and what they need and your specific habits. So for example, if you get like a smaller humidifier because you don't mind refilling it every so often, or that you need one for a big space or you need one for a smaller space, or like a cabinet, just make sure to keep those little factors in play as well. I would definitely recommend the Breville Smart humidifier, air humidifier, because that one definitely lasted really long. It had all the functionality. If only it had an app. If it had an app, it would probably be close to 5 in my opinion. So that guy is definitely on my higher of recommendations, and hopefully this guy will also be on that recommendation list. If you've got a smaller space, I would totally do the one that Dad got me from the greenhouse, the ASAKUKI one. I haven't had it for a super long time, but I guess for the price point, I would still be able to justify it. Other recommendation would be this little guy if you are doing like a cabinet situation. But just know from different people's experience is that the way that they last has been quite variable. So just keep that in mind. But for $100, it still does the job. There you are, my friends. There you have it. We have gone and sped run through 9 different reviews for 9 different humidifiers. I hope that this has helped you guys in some way, shape, or form. That if you have any recommendations yourself and different humidifiers that you guys have tried out and have loved, please leave comments down below to let everyone know. Additionally, if you guys want me to review more products, more humidifiers, please let me know because I'm more than happy to do it. I should have put at the beginning of the video that this video is not sponsored or I have not been paid to say any of these things. These are all just my honest opinion, of course. Thank you guys so much for hanging out at PCM with me and talking about humidifiers. I hope it helps you on your plant journey into getting the best care for your plants. Until the next video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!